Hey everybody, welcome back to Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton. And last time we were in control of Phoenix and a big scene went down. Bezella summoned Espella, I guess, summoned a huge dragon, and now everyone says because she did that, she's obviously Bezella. And she was wearing a pendant that summoned the dragon, and we found a clue, like a mechanism that the pendant gets inserted into. And also the dragon, after it was summoned, it killed the storyteller, and the storyteller said that that's the beginning of the end of the story. So seems like we're heading to the ending, and we'll get a little more backstory on what Layton and Luke were up to. So let's do the recap here. Luke and I began making our way to the Storyteller's Tower, where we hope to begin our search for clues right away. We learned that Inquisitor Barnum told his dog, Constantine, that the tower is home to the darkest and most hidden of secrets. Though ran Inquisitor Barnum, he accused Lady Darklaw of being the Great Witch in the forest, and she said since he doesn't have any proof, that's treason, and she stripped him of his knight status and put him in prison. We haven't much time before the start of Miss Cantabella's trial. Come, Luke. We must make our way past this guard post and into the tower. I think I did a pretty good job of recapping what the game did. Professor! What is it, my boy? What do you think about what happened tonight? On the surface, it certainly did appear that the storyteller's assistant could be none other than Espella, assailant, I mean. But surely not! However, even if it did seem that way, that doesn't necessarily make it the truth. And if it transpires that Espella is in fact innocent, then there must be some form of contradiction or proof to support as much. Yes, you're right. I bet Mr. Wright won't even miss the slightest shred of evidence. Mr. Wright and Maya are investigating the scene of the crime as we speak. We, meanwhile, must search for something to prove Espella's innocence. In doing so, the truth should become evident as a matter of course. I see. In the time that I've spent with Espella, I've never once doubted her character. There's just no way she could do anything as terrible as what happened in that square. I believe in her, Professor. I know you do, Luke. We're Espella's friends, and as such, we must believe in her. Too right. First, let us make our way through the gate. Uh-oh, the door is still locked. And there are no knights here to open it. What's the matter, Constantine? That's great, thanks. He says there's another way in, which only the knights knew about. That's a relief. Could you show us the way, Constantine? Alright, let's see. Go to the Knights' garrison. Who'd have thought the storyteller would come to such an end? I'm still finding it hard to believe, even now. I mean, what's to become of us? Wish I knew. I'm more worried about Inquisitor Barnum. He's being held on suspicion of treason. This whole thing is just one big headache. No matter what, the future ain't looking too bright. Enough of your pathetic whining. You call ourselves knights? Oh, Captain. The storyteller gone, Inquisitor Barnum's gone. And who do you think is suffering the most because of it? The townsfolk, that's who. Now they need us the most. We must be there for them to offer our support. Yes, sir, that's certainly true, but with things the way they are, what can we possibly do? Pitiful! Over there, isn't it? It would appear even the knights are unsettled, my boy. What's going to become of Labyrinthia now? Well, according to the final story, once all this is sorted out, there will be fresh hope for the future. So it's a little early to be losing heart just yet. I hope you're right. Let's do our best to make it so, Professor. What's this? Someone coming this way. Is that... Now what are you two doing here? We're heading to the Storyteller's Tower. There may be something left to uncover, so we're going there now to find out. Did you say the Storyteller's Tower? Uh-oh. Hope this doesn't mean we're about to be surrounded by knights pointing swords at us again. Well, if it isn't little Constantine. Oh, I see. This must mean you're working on behalf of Inquisitor Barnum. Well, in that case, the tower's up ahead. You may proceed. In fact, I insist that you proceed. I have a feeling there's some unfinished business that only you can take care of. For all our sakes, go there and fulfill your quest. And in doing so, show us all that there is still hope for the future of Labyrinthia. Captain. Very well, we shan't let you down. Let's go, Luke. The Storyteller's Tower stands right ahead of us. Right you are, Professor. Look, I can see the tower right over there. But how do we get to it? I believe this is where our little friend comes in handy, wouldn't you say, Luke? Right, of course. I see. You're saying there's a path? It says there's a path leading from behind the audience room right over to the Storyteller's Tower. One could hardly ask for a better guide. Oh, really? He just said you've got nothing to worry about while I'm here. And then he added, you might want to worry about that Sir Blue Knight, though. I hope Mr. Wright and Maya were able to come across some clues. I don't think we need to worry too much about them. I'm sure they'll be alright. Wouldn't you agree, my boy? Of course, Professor. When I was teaming up with Mr. Wright, one thing became clear to me. He's definitely someone that will always do his best to protect his friends. I agree, Luke. He's a fine lawyer with a heart of gold. I'm quite confident the trial is safe in his capable hands. Me too. And then there's Maya. She's always strong and courageous. Not to mention full of energy. She's a bit reckless sometimes, but with always good intent. We're lucky to have them on our side. I'm really glad we met them, aren't you, Professor? Yes, Luke. Now quit wasting time. Both Mr. Wright and Miss Frey are friends that can truly be relied upon. But at the same time, High Inquisitor Darklaw will be a most formidable opponent, one unlikely to make any careless slips. Which is why we must all do our best and work together. Including me, right? Of course. I certainly couldn't do this without you, Luke. Don't worry, Professor. I'll give it everything I got. That's the spirit, my boy. Wow, you don't realize how tall the tower is until you see it up close like this. It certainly looks ominous in the moonlight. There's a vital clue waiting for us here, isn't there, Professor? Stop talking about the clue and go get it! That's what I'm counting on, Luke, and it would seem that Inquisitor Barnum had the same idea. That would explain why Constantine is helping us. Yes, we all know the dog's helping us! So this is the tower in which the crater resides. The tower that none of the townsfolk, not even the knights, dare visit. It's surrounded in secrecy, that's for sure. It's a bit like the Eldritch Woods. Indeed, those woods are certainly an enigma in themselves. Not to mention those underground ruins. Talk about mysterious places. If the storyteller really knew everything about Labyrinthia, I'd like to have asked him a thing or two about them. It's possible that there may be clues related to those places, as well as a number of other matters waiting for us within that tower. In which case, there could also be any manner of traps or contrivances waiting as well. We shall have to be doubly careful from here on in. Got it, Professor. You what? You've completed your mission. He says he's worried about his master and wants to return to him now. We couldn't have come this far without your fine guidance, Constantine. We can take it from here. Constantine says we're the ones his master chose, so he knows we can leave this quest with us in good faith. We're on it, Constantine. Thank you for your help. Yes, thanks a lot. Take care on your way back. Inquisitor Barnum loves this town more than anyone and has done his utmost to protect it. Must bear that in mind too, Luke. We have a responsibility to fight to the end, for him and everyone else in this town. I'm ready if you are, Professor. Well, I'm examining it. Seems the mechanisms put in place to protect the tower are still operating. Does that mean we can't get inside? No, I wouldn't say so. This particular mechanism is in the form of a puzzle. If we solve it, perhaps we can enter. Enchanted Sums. There are 12 gems, each of them numbered between 1 and 12. There's also a set of 3 triangles with gems already inside them. These gems cannot be moved. So all of the sums, all of the numbers in each triangle's perimeter adds up to 39. So it's basically Sudoku.
Allow me to show you my puzzle-solving skills. That was indeed an intriguing puzzle.
Correct. A shiver runs down your spine as the door opens and eerie silence fills the air. Just what awaits you on the other side. Professor, you did it! Professor? Doesn't seem peculiar to you. To get here, we had to make our way beyond the guard's post and through the knight's garrison. That would normally be considered sufficient defense against intruders, so so one would imagine. Yeah, I guess you're right. There were several knights around as well. And yet, in addition, we found that contrivance in place on the door, which suggests to me that something of great importance must be contained within. Let's go in and find out, Professor. Well, for this game, that was a pretty dang short chapter, so I guess we'll continue on to do a little more of the next chapter. Yes, I've been playing this for 18 and a half hours. Chapter 8, The Final Witch Trial. It's finally started, the last witch trial. The witch's court will no longer serve any purpose once the great witch Espella is burned. But Espella isn't Espella. I'm not buying it one bit. I mean, the storyteller is her father. I don't know what happened between them, but a father would never do that to his child. I think you're right, Maya. No one else does. They're all throwing accusations at her. Just feel so sorry for Espella. Feels like this whole case is under some kind of bad spell. A spell? Yeah, we just can't see it yet. That's why it's so vital that we expose the real witch behind all this, and we've got to do it during this trial. I believe in you, Nick. Oh, by the way. Yeah? What are you going to do during this trial? I mean, if you're thinking about watching. What? You mean you don't want me to be by your side? I don't take you for such a cold-hearted guy, Nick. That's not what I mean. Let me finish before you start jumping to conclusions. What I was going to say is, you can't let people see you. You're supposed to be, you know, dead. You were cast into the flames, remember? Oh, right, that. You mean I was on trial for the... You mean after I was on trial for the murder of Sir Top Hat? Don't underestimate me, Sir Blue Knight. Huh? I've already got it covered. Check it out, I brought this with me. With this masterful disguise, I shall be transformed into Maya the Ironclad. I found it in Barnum's room, and I figured I'd borrow it for a while. Don't tell me you're going to the trial wearing that helmet. I sure am. Can't be Maya the Ironclad without being clad in some iron. Let's just hope Barnum doesn't flip out if he sees you wearing his trusty headgear. Anyway, I'm gonna do what I can to help. We've got to save Espella, right? We will. Come on, let's get going. It's time to break whatever bad spell Espella's under and end these witch trials once and for all. Right. You're okay with that, aren't you, Espella?
There's a ton of people out there, Nick.
Let's do this. Come on.
Now, as scheduled, the trial of Espella Cantabella shall commence forthwith. Knights of the court, are you ready now to cross your swords of justice?
The Knights of the Inquisition have spent countless years trying to track down the elusive Great Witch. The secret of her identity shall finally be brought to light in this very court. All those present, pay attention, so that the truth may be burned into your memory. Today, the legend of the Great Witch shall become a closed chapter in the history of Labyrinthia.
You could cut the atmosphere with a knife. It's so loaded, but at the same time, oddly subdued.
And now, the whole truth shall be revealed to all. The moon, eye of the night, shall bear witness to that. Don't you agree, Defender?
Your Honor, the defense is ready.
How regrettable. I see you won't allow yourself to be provoked.
You may now begin with your opening statement, High Inquisitor Darklaw. Thank you. People of Labyrinthia, the story has ended. Its end has been sealed through the storyteller's death. The one who put an end to the life of the storyteller and to the story which governed our lives was the great witch Espella, a foul embodiment of evil who has long been lurking among us, concealed deep within the consciousness of a certain girl. I'm sure you are all aware of her name. I refer, of course, to Espella Cantabella. Today, at dusk, a tragedy unfolded right in front of us all. A giant fire dragon descended into the town square, devouring the storyteller. 'Twas a nightmarish vision that we shall never be able to forget. That fearsome fire beast of which we had only heard tell through legend returned at the hand of the Great Witch. Indeed, it was just as the illustrations of the legendary fire. And the girl, within whose heart lies the Great Witch herself, has committed her final and most heinous crime. The crime of patricide. May this trial serve as an offering. An offering to the storyteller who can no longer be with us. Thank you, High Inquisitor. The Inquisition may now begin its proceedings. As I have said, this unthinkable crime took place in the town square, within plain sight of all Labyrinthians. Everyone is a witness. Surely there can be no need for a formal interrogation. You can't say that. I suggest you mind your temper, Defender. In a few moments, you'll have no option but to accept the truth. Once we hear it from the very mouth of the accused. From Espella? The Inquisition hereby demands that the accused, Espella Cantabella, testify about her crime. Or rather, that she confess to it. Inquisition's request shall be granted. Bring Espella Cantabella down to the witness stand. This is it, the last trial. In all likelihood, Espella will admit to the charges. I have only one chance to break whatever spell she's under. When she testifies, there are bound to be some clues to the truth in it. Now that you're here, witness, state your name and tell us your real name as well.
My name is Espella Cantabella, but I have another name too, Bezella.
Order in the court. Then you really do admit that you are the Great Witch? You openly concede that you are Bezella herself, the cause of all evil and destruction? Yes. I knew it. We're done. She's Bezella. Oh my god, she admitted. How terrifying. I mean, she killed her own father? How dare she kill our beloved storyteller? I went to see her burn! The Inquisition was right. The accused herself has spoken. It would seem there is no need for an interrogation. I assure you, there is none. The only possible verdict has been clear to everyone from the very beginning.
Hold it!
Let's hear Espella's, the accused side of the story. Magic exists in this world, right? So if you think about it, Espella could be under the influence of a spell too. She's trying to disguise her voice. What I would like to know is this. Just who in the world are you, young knight? Oh, me? How to put it? I feel as if we've met somewhere before. It was... what was it again? We haven't. It's just in your imagination, Your Honor. I mean, my lord. As for who I am... I'm with Sir Blue Knight. Not in a romantic way, of course. Is this a friend of yours, Defender? Yeah, and, don't comment on the helmet, please. She really wouldn't, like to have her face seen. How can I put this gently? It's not something you'd want to look at. What are you talking about? I'll make it sound like there's a problem with my face. I can assure you we have no interest in seeing your face, miss. Although I do wonder where you acquired that particular helm. Why is that? A helm of that ilk is not something you can simply purchase from a street stall. Well, I found it in the forest. Finders keepers, you know. What are you doing, Maya? You promised you wouldn't draw any attention. Oh, sorry, Nick. I lost it a bit. Well, anyway, the defense's opinions as follows. We should hear the defense testimonies anyway. We should hear the defendant's testimony before coming to a verdict. There may be some things even she isn't aware of. How amusing. As this is to be the last wish trial ever held, perhaps it is only fitting that we cross swords before you accept your defeat. I agree. Thus, the accused herself will now testify. Miss Cantabella, tell the court of your involvement in this incident. I finally realized that Bezella has been lying dormant within me. One evening, I fell at the... Alright, I better, slow down a minute. Once evening fell and the rain ceased, I climbed up the wooden stairs of that bell tower and awaited the parade. I waited for my father's speech to end, and then I summoned the fire dragon. I don't know why I killed my father. That was a very unusual testimony. When you used magic against your father, were you doing so as Espella Cantabella, or as the Great Witch Bezella? A most fascinating query, however, it matters not. The Inquisition has ingeniously solved this query by disregarding it. What matters is that Bezella exists within this girl. Being a witch is a crime. Such a fundamental rule will always hold. And this girl here is not just any witch, she is the Great Witch. Espella has admitted the charges, just as I expected. I just have to hope I can find some contradictions in her testimony. If I don't, we can kiss this trial goodbye. Defense may begin the interrogation. Defender, steady your sword of justice. Should I see it waver or point in the wrong direction, I will not hesitate to cut down your arguments and end this interrogation. You better keep that in mind. Once evening fell and the rain ceased, I climbed up the wooden stairs of the bell tower and awaited the parade. The bell tower was constantly guarded and there were no trespassers.
Objection!
Vigilantes were guarding the bell tower all day. Is that the Vigilantes' report? Indeed, according to this, the Vigilantes have been constantly guarding the entrance to the bell tower ever since it appeared. However, there is nothing about Espella going up to the tower in their report.
Objection!
Your memory must have failed you. That girl is a witch, a great witch at that. It is only natural to assume she used something akin to invisibility magic. Isn't it so, witness? Yes, I used an invisibility spell to enter the tower unnoticed.
Objection!
Even magic follows certain rules in this world. Witches need to be holding a Talia Magica in order to use magic. And you weren't in possession of one at the time.
Objection!
How horrifying your ignorance is. Excuse me? Do you honestly think the difference between a regular witch and the Great Witch is in name alone? The Great Witch, unlike other witches, can command any magic she desires without the use of a witch's scepter.
Objection!
That's news to me. Every labyrinthian should know about that. A witch's scepter can only hold 2 magic gems at once. Whoever heard of a great witch who could only use 2 spells? Ah! Order, order! In any case, this should convince you that the accused entered the tower. This is a sketch showing footprints? It was raining before the parade reached the town square. Obviously, if you walk through muddy streets before climbing up a staircase, you will inevitably leave footprints on the steps. The sketch shows that there were indeed muddy footprints present in the bell tower steps. And since you'd no doubt be quick to ask, I can tell you that they match the sole of the accused's shoes. It is certain that the accused climbed to the bell tower after the rain had fallen. Very well, the court accepts the sketch as evidence. I almost pity you, defender. The evidence you threw in our faces with such verve was sadly useless. Indeed, it seemed there were no problems with the testimony after all. Let us not waste time. If you could carry on with the interrogation. That is, if the defender hasn't run out of ideas yet. The judge seems ready to announce the verdict any second now. I've got to find a flaw in her testimony, and fast. I need a solid lead in this case.
Hold it!
You say you finally realized. Yes, I've always had a feeling, but my memory is rather hazy. I've always felt as though I'm not who I think I am, and that I've forgotten something very important. Incidentally, when did you become aware of Bezella's presence within you? It was when I went to the Great Archive with Mr. Layton and Luke. Ever since I saw the mural depicting Bezella, I started having strange flashbacks. I saw things from the distant past. Memories of the legendary fire. The legendary fire? I saw it. I was there when it happened. I saw the town consumed by flames. You couldn't have. That's impossible. The legendary fire occurred over 100 years ago, and there were no survivors. Yes, I know that. But it's true. I remember it happening. Because I'm Bezella. I don't think that helped my case very much.
Hold it!
You summoned the fire dragon with that spell Grandworm, right? Yes, that is the one. Although I won't say it now, I'm sure something terrible would happen if I did. That's fine, absolutely fine. No need to prove that statement. In fact, the court forbids you to prove it. Of course I won't say it. There's something strange about this statement. And I think I know exactly what was bothering me about it. She used that dragon summoning spell, but she didn't have a witch's scepter. A great witch can use all spells without using a scepter, right? I mean, that's a little too overpowered, don't you think? That's probably what makes the Great Witch, well, great. She'd be pretty sorry, Great Witch, if she could only use 2 spells. Uh-huh, yeah, I guess so. Continue the interrogation.
Hold it!
That may be because you didn't kill him.
Objection!
It's useless, defender. Witness, who killed the storyteller? Notice her eyes change. It was me. I summoned the fire dragon. I killed him. The storyteller chose his own death. She moves her claw hand out, and then her eyes get lighter, and she repeats what she wants her to say. That is a fact that cannot be changed. 'Tis common knowledge that all things written in a story will become a reality. And Bezella's appearance has been written into the story's final chapter. She has no choice but to act out the role that has been written for her. In other words, everything happens in accordance with the storyteller's story. Nick? Have you noticed how weird Espella is acting today? I sure have. It's almost like she's a puppet. But who's pulling the strings? Look, check it out. It's Eve. She must be there to root for Espella. I don't think a cat's emotional support is going to help us all that much. Well, this is an unexpected intrusion. But as we are in the middle of an interrogation, I will ask the witness to carry on with the testimony. Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
You say you finally realized. Yes, I'd always had a feeling, but...
Hang on!
I have a question for you, Eve. Eve! Just what on earth are you doing, Defender? Huh? I was just... Eve is Espella's friend, so I was wondering if she might have some input. Whether or not this very little witness can contribute to the testimony seems to be obvious at a glance. Is that so? I guess questioning a cat wasn't the best idea. Where's Luke when you need him? Do you wish to say something, High Inquisitor Darklaw? Just remembered a line from a fairy tale that I heard when I was little. A fairy tale about Bezella. The Great Witch Bezella is always accompanied by a black cat. Or so it is claimed. It would seem there's always a grain of it seems there was a grain of truth in that fairy tale after all. That's true. Eve always follows me. Always? Oh, Nick, that means... They must have been together when the incident happened, too. Well, now that she mentions it. I think I saw a black cat at the bell tower when it happened. Oh, yes, Eve was with me in the bell tower. Your Honor. Yes, Defender? The defense requests that Miss Cantabella's comment be added to the testimony. She knows where this is going. Very well, request granted. Witness, add what you just said about the cat to the testimony. Yes, my lord. My cat Eve followed me, as always. Oh, yeah? Well, then where were the cat's footprints?
Objection!
I'm sorry, Espella. But there's a problem with that statement. A problem? You went up to the bell tower in the evening after it stopped raining, correct? Yes, I think so, after all. There's proof of that. My footprints were left on the stairs. That's right. There were footprints on the steps. However, there's something missing in the sketch. Missing? What do you mean, Defender? There are no paw prints of Espella's cat, Eve. Oh. You said Eve was following you, right? In which case, naturally, there would have been cat paw prints on the stairs as well.
Objection!
And here I thought you would say something that makes sense. Such a silly assertion as that can be easily explained. The cat must have climbed up on the accused's shoulders. Was that not the case, witness? Yes, Eve was on my shoulders, I think. She dislikes dirt, so when it's muddy, she tends to climb up on my shoulders.
Objection!
Then why didn't you say that before? You testified that the cat was following you. It's...
Objection!
This is such a trifling matter, Defender. Your do well is just to let it go.
Objection!
It might seem that way to you, but it has important implications. It shows that Espella's testimony is unreliable. What do you mean? For a while now, Espella hasn't been testifying in her own words. All the vital parts of her testimony have come from the High Inquisitor Darklaw. She made Espella say those things.
Objection!
Are you claiming that I, the High Inquisitor, am responsible for making the accused commit perjury? Well, if that's not the case, then there's one more possibility. Namely, that the witness, Miss Cantabella, has no clear recollection of what happened in that evening. What? Are you saying the witness has no memory of the incident? Espella, do you actually remember what happened? Do you remember entering the bell tower and summoning the fire dragon? Yes. Well, there goes that theory. You say you also remember the legendary fire, which burned this town to the ground. Yes, I do, even though it was a long time ago. And you remember tonight's events just as clearly? Do you truly remember summoning that terrifying fire dragon and killing your own father? I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm Basella, am I not? I can remember the legendary fire, so why can't I remember anything about what happened tonight? Your Honor, the defendant is confused and cannot remember what happened. Therefore, her confession that she's the Great Witch is not credible.
Objection!
What are you talking about, Defender? She admits that she is Basella.
Objection!
Her testimony doesn't hold together. I am more than one person. Who was the other one within me?
No!
Espella. Court attendants, carry the accused to the emergency care room. brief summary of the accused current situation. Alright, I think that's a good spot to leave it here. And now that she's fainted and we learned that Darklaw is probably puppeting her for her testimony. So, yeah, we'll continue the final witch trial on Sunday. And we'll have more Thimbleweed Tower, or Thimbleweed Park tomorrow. The Pizza Tower is on Tuesday. So, we're probably getting close to the end of that one. And I think we're getting pretty close to the end of this one. So, stay tuned for the final conclusion in the next, I don't know, 4 or 5 episodes, I guess, probably. So, anyway, I hope you have a great weekend, and stay tuned.